Hi, I'm Brian Vieira, Science of Reading consultant, founder of the Academic Gym, which is a multisensory structured literacy program, and also ScholarSkills, which is a tutorial reading remediation program. I'm the author of 23 books on orthography, English grammar, spelling, vocabulary, writing, and also the founder of the ScholarSkills Dyslexia Testing and Treatment Center. It's an honor for me to present this series to you on how to help kids overcome reading difficulties through the science of reading. But my primary goal is to help parents and teachers understand the steps that they must take to help our students overcome these devastating difficulties and even disabilities. Some of your children or students might have or might have been diagnosed with dyslexia. And that can be so disabling in terms of the way students approach school, their confidence levels, how they feel about themselves. Oh my goodness, we need to help our students. And so I'm not going to use a lot of professional jargon in this, though I'm a trained linguist. That's not my goal. My goal is to help you simplify, understand the concepts that are necessary, the steps that must be taken, the holistic approach, the comprehensive approach, to help students overcome these difficulties before they overcome them. Let me say this, that the earlier we intervene in a student's reading life, in a student's academic life, the easier it will be to help those kids overcome any difficulties or challenges that they might face in reading. And so, with my heart and my mind set to helping parents and teachers, I hope that I can make this a simple journey for you, not simplistic, but simple, so that you can take these practical tips and tools and work with your students, work with your children, whether at home or at school, to help them overcome what can be the most devastating things in their academic career, the inability to read, especially on the level with their peers. So without further ado, my goal is to introduce you to what's called the ScholarSkills Steps to Reading Success. And here you're going to find these steps. I'm going to kind of scroll down here for you to show you the nature of what I'll be covering. Each video will be covering a different aspect of this chart. All right, so for example, if you look at these steps here, you'll see phonics and phonemic awareness, fluency, grammar and vocabulary, sentence comprehension, reading comprehension, and finally, success. Well, in this video, I'm going to give you an overview. The remaining videos will be my really guide to delineating and expressing to you, breaking down each of these steps for you, okay? So the first video, this introductory video, is an introduction to these steps and why they're so necessary. So I'm going to go a bit quickly, but rest assured, in the next series of videos, and each of these videos are going to be very short and digestible, just chunks of knowledge. So within 5 or 10 minutes, you can really grasp a profound concept and a particular tool and begin applying it to the way you guide your children or your students in this struggle to overcome reading difficulties. All right. So let's begin at the beginning. And the first stage of this is something we call phonological awareness. Now, what is phonological awareness? Now, I'm not sure if you can see this print here. This might be a little bit small for you, but whenever you hear the term phono or anything dealing with P-H-O-N-O, anything of this nature here, okay, you need to think of one thing, sound. P-H-O-N-O refers to sound. It is the Greek root that means sound. So when you hear phonological, phonemic, phonics, it just refers to sound. So don't get complicated or think, oh my goodness, I don't have a PhD. I didn't study this. I can't understand the so-called science of reading. Well, listen, it's not as hard as you think. It is complex. It does require attentiveness. And it's not the type of thing you can throw in the microwave and come out in 30 seconds. You do have to pay attention. You do have to be invested in learning, but it is not overly complicated. And when I refer to the science of reading, I refer to the body of literature and the body of documented studies that show us how children really learn. The science of reading prescribes the foundations for reading. What are the things that kids really need in order to read and succeed? Now, each program will take the science of reading and convert it into what we call structured literacy. That means these systematic steps that kids ought to take to advance themselves or to advance over these reading difficulties by using what is prescribed in the science of reading. So in our program, we always begin at the beginning. And if you look at the beginning, it is phonological awareness. What is phonological awareness? It means that as soon as your kids come out the womb, I mean, even before they come out of the womb, you should really begin exposing them to speech sounds. It's a proven fact. I think you know this, right, parents, especially, that if your kids are exposed to sounds in the womb, they really come out with a sort of readiness in their brain structure that other kids might not have. So phonological awareness means is this awareness, this sense, if you would, this consciousness that kids have about sounds and especially about speech sounds. Now, as they get older, 1, 2, and 3, we expose them again to sounds, and we let them know through chants and rhymes and syllables and touching letters and touching sounds that speech sounds, what we say, consists of sounds. This is an awareness or a consciousness that kids cultivate over a period of time. And it's very important to realize that phonological awareness is an auditory process which occurs through natural experience and explicit instruction. Kids who are phonologically aware have begun listening in to the larger sound structures of language. They can distinguish individual words in sentences and detect syllables in words. Later on, we'll talk about phonemic awareness, which is a subset of phonological awareness. So think of phonological awareness as this huge circle of sounds, of speech sounds. And kids, because you're speaking to them, because you're singing to them, because you're chanting to them, because you're showing them letters, and because they're listening to your conversations, and because, yes, you're reading to them, they begin developing this sense that what you are saying that's making sense to them actually consists of sounds. Now, later on, they'll become phonemically aware, which means they'll be able to distinguish or detect those individual sounds. But here's the joy. You don't have to have a PhD to do this with your kids or students. As early as you can, begin chanting, singing, showing them syllables. And what I mean by syllables, I mean the simple structures like ab, eb, ib, ob, ub, ab, eb, ib, ob, ub. Think of the famous story of Jack and the Giant, right? The only thing you remember is fee, fi, fo, fum, but those are syllables and they're rhythmic. So here's the key. As early as possible, from the womb all the way up, begin introducing your children to rhythmic repetition, to chants. This is the prevention process. Parents, let me advise you of this. If you had trouble reading, if you experience reading difficulty in school, genetically, the chances are significant that your children will also experience those difficulties. So here's what you do. If you had trouble reading, or if dad had trouble reading, or mom had trouble reading, whoever's listening to this, then you want to take a preventative approach as soon as you can by exposing your children to phonological awareness. Help them develop a sense of sound. The easiest definition of this term, phonological awareness, is to have your kids develop a sense of sound, especially speech sound. And that happens as you read, as you sing, as you chant, as you tap, as you clap. And you should use the simple syllables to do that. If you would like a copy of those simple syllables, click below. I should have a PDF chart below this video, or maybe even a link inside where you can click and begin looking at those simple syllables. And we even have some songs to go along with them. Oh my goodness, the brain absolutely loves music. And parents, if you can sing these simple syllables to your kids, educators, those in pre-K, those who have daycare centers, whatever you do, if you are interacting with children at the earliest stages of literacy, I cannot stress enough the need for you to help them become phonologically aware by exposing them constantly to speech sounds in songs and in reading.